Que Wala Omega, it's me, your absolute favorite host, Kelvin Live.
And it's me, your favorite host, Oski.
Still hasn't been proven yet, but we are so excited to be here for another episode of Los Yappers. What a crazy week that we have coming up. I wouldn't say crazy week, but we had a nice week coming up to this episode. How was yours?
It was great. I was in New York last week.
In New York.
Empire State of Mind. I brought it back to Georgia.
And some Benjamins, too.
And some Benjamins. Shout out to my bestie at work, Corey. You're a real one. If you actually listen, you'll know I'll give you a shout out.
Mm-hmm. I know, right? I'd like to really know which one of our friends listen. Because they don't really tell us. Like, I think some tell us, like, oh, I listened.
Some surprise me. Some surprise me for sure.
Yes.
Because I didn't think that listen would randomly like say something,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh, thanks for support.
Yes.
I mean, I never expect just because someone's my friend that they have to support and they have to listen.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do, great, and I love it and I appreciate it. But yeah, this past week was a lot of fun. I did miss you a lot because I know how much you would have loved it, but because of things and responsibilities, you couldn't come with me.
And money.
those being the things I was talking about.
Prices.
You couldn't come with me. So I had a blast though. My coworker hooked me up and got me some Benjamins.
Love that.
Because in New York, gardening is legal.
I know, that's right.
And I love it.
Well, to piggyback on what you said before, you don't expect your friends to listen. No, I expect all my friends to listen. If my friend had a podcast, I would be their number one fan. I'm obsessed with my friends. I love them for each individual thing that they are special to me about. And if they want to talk about something in Yap, I would not only support and listen to their podcast, but I would also coach them a little bit because, everybody thinks that they could be a podcaster with a microphone in their hand. No shade. But no, long story short, didn't you have an interaction or an interesting interaction?
I did. So for the first time, my worlds collided and it was a little much for me to handle from a mental gymnastics. At work, I was helping out. So I normally don't go to New York for work because that's not my area that I cover. Mm-hmm. I was just helping out for a project. And one of the employees there, one of the regional managers, came up to me the first day and was just so excited about the podcast. And they've been a listener because what they say they like to do is when they know they're going to work with someone, they kind of do a little bit of a deep dive because they want to know what to expect. And she ended up finding...
That's something I would do, yes.
She ended up finding our podcast and she listened to it. She brought up when my mom was on the podcast, so she went far back. So I really appreciate it. It was really, really sweet. It was a little weird at first just because it's never happened before. But it was really sweet and endearing that someone would, take the time to listen to it ahead of it and then also remember it, retain it, be excited about it. They did have a request that we start showing off the house because it's mostly done. So they want to see what our aesthetic is about.
Oh, wow.
Which you've seen it in some of our videos. If we've done like social media trends and stuff, you've seen a little bit of the house, but maybe we'll take some actual photos and videos of the setup.
That's so intimate, but I can understand why, because I love when people post
not my bedroom
pictures. Yeah, no, not that. But when I see pictures and videos of people like filming their TV, right? They're watching like a fun moment on TV. Like I look at the coffee table. I look at what's around. I see if it's messy.
I do all of that. Notice those things.
I do all of those things. So yes, absolutely.
I notice if the aesthetic is really cool or cute or whatever, or if I don't like the aesthetic. But that's your house and that's your business. But I don't really notice like the little things in those videos because obviously that's not the main focus.
No, I'm a chuma. I'm a chuma.
I know that's right.
Chuma, so I will be staring. Now, the other interaction that I had this week, it was a very lonely week. It's really weird. Sometimes when you take your 5-day trips, they're much faster than compared to like your 2 or 3 day trips. I don't know why, but that's how it works in my mind.
Sure.
But during the week, I did some really cool stuff. I went to see Six the Musical for the first time.
Which I'm jealous because I've been talking to you about that musical.
Yes, you have.
And I've played you the music and he didn't like it. Everybody.
I never said that.
He was just annoyed by the music.
I was just like, oh, this is cool. This is pop EDM. It's cool. And once again, I've always said this about musicals. I'm not the biggest musical person, but if you take me to a show and I see it and experience the story, I'm like, oh, now I like the music. Now I get the context. So I'm a full fan of Six, the musical. Such good music. I love it.
But that one's really different because it's set up like a concert.
Yeah, pretty much.
So for those who don't know, Six the Musical is about King Henry VIII's wives. Famously, he had 6 wives. When it was he divorced the first one, then beheaded, then one died, divorced again, beheaded the 5th one, and then the last one technically survived him, but obviously died later in life. Yes. And they just had this famous kind of story of being the victims, and the twist of this one is that they don't want to be the victims. They want to tell a happy ending of their lives, an alternate ending, if you will. Yes. So it's a lot of fun, and it's set up like a rock concert, which is the last thing you would think.
Like a pop concert. Yeah. It's so fun.
Of that time frame.
Yes, it's so good. What else did I do? I got a beautiful message from one of our listeners, Jackie. She sent me a 5-minute audio of just responding to the last week's episode about my dad and his apology. And, you know, she shared some really intimate stuff that, I don't really need to share, but it was just in support, and it was just so helpful and so kind. Super appreciative of it. And yeah, some people I've seen on Twitter talk about how, like, don't send me no 3-minute, 4-minute, 5-minute audio. I love it. I don't care. I will listen to it. I have nothing else to do, 1. But 2, aside from that, even when I did have things to do, I have friends that love sending audio clips. I don't care. I listen to it. I love it.
Sure.
Send me all the audio clips if you don't want to text.
Sure. I'm indifferent. Send it. Text, audio, video, whatever you want.
Nobody texts you, honey.
True.
Let's move right along to our gay agenda. Now, this week was a lot of headlines in the news. There were a lot of things going on.
I mean, isn't every week a lot of headlines?
I know, you're right.
With this administration.
You're right. Girl, I'm trying to do some clean intros. And for my gay agenda, I just want to, both of us, this is a message that we both share. We want to give our heart outs to everybody that lost their job over at Spirit Airlines.
Hard one.
I am a lover of Spirit Airlines. And I just want to say I have always been shaded from time to time from, if I ever post a photo and I'm traveling, oh, Spirit Airlines. I've had a few of those DMs. Spirit Airlines has never, ever done me wrong. And they've always taken me to my destination. But that's besides the point. The point is there's 17,000 people without a job.
Anyone who's judging you for what you spend or how much you don't spend on something is just miserable and unhappy with their own life.
I know that's right.
And I know that's right. Spirit was always, I never had a problem with Spirit. Whenever I flew Spirit got me to where I needed to get to. I may have been starving, no liquids, and, in a plastic seat, but I got there. With a seatbelt attached, and that's all that mattered. Because I knew with the price that I was paying, what to expect, and I never had a problem. I acted correctly. So it is unfortunate that the affordability, and that's not just with airlines, that's with a lot of travel, like hotels and stuff, like you're seeing less and less of like a moderate kind of price point. It's either the extremely cheap, which is not always like best quality, or the really expensive. So it's kind of, yet again, it's the middle class, the people who can afford these kind of things or want to travel aren't able to, right? So maybe it'll bring train travel back to life. Who knows?
Girl,
I love a good train, but I did remember.
We know.
First of all, cut the episode.
I'm not. That's actually the clip.
I'm getting up.
That's actually the clip.
Anyway, as I was about to bring up my dead cousin. So Vanessa, I hope you're laughing at that up there. I know you had a dirty sense of humor too, but she worked for Spirit Airlines, and it reminded me that at her funeral was really lovely. A lot of her coworkers came.
They did.
They wore their uniforms.
They came in uniform.
Yes, and it was beautiful. So, here we are, just two ends of the spectrum when it comes to emotion.
She would have liked that joke.
She would have loved that joke.
We love Vanessa. We miss you, Vanessa.
Yes. So for my gay agenda, at the time of this recording, tomorrow, or when this episode comes out, it is Cinco de Mayo. And however, we like to party and we like to enjoy and we like to, have fun, as America has turned this holiday into margaritas and tacos.
Right.
Let's remind everyone of a couple things. especially for those of the less melanin, the lack of melanin in their skin. Remember, there is a way to celebrate a culture or celebrate a holiday without mocking a culture.
Absolutely.
Putting on a mustache, putting on a sombrero, like making ay noises is not the way. You want to go have fun. Like what we're doing, we're going to Latin night at a club just to go dancing and enjoy Cinco de Mayo. Remember, it's not a party holiday. It wasn't the intention of it. So for those who don't know, Cinco de Mayo actually celebrates the victory that the Mexican military had over the French at the Battle of the Pueblo. I believe that's what it was called. And it wasn't. Some people think it's their Independence Day, but it's not. That's in September. This is just one of the battles because they weren't expected to win. Right. So that's why it's celebrated. So it's not about being a stick in the mud. Obviously, have fun, enjoy it, but educate yourself a little, and you don't need to mock someone to have some fun.
And go support a local business, too.
Go to a Mexican restaurant. Yes. Get that tequila. Get that margarita. I'm sure they love the business, but you don't need to go in there dressed like a burro.
Right.
Because you definitely look like one.
Damn. No, it's true, 100%. And to piggyback off what you're saying, we don't really party on Cinco de Mayo. We never have. It's never really been.
I don't need an excuse to have a margarita. I know that's right.
Period. Well, does that wrap up your gay agenda, my king?
That does.
Don't be cringe and post Drinko de Cinco. That's the one that pisses me off the most.
I've never seen
Drinko de Cinco. So shut up. Anyway.
Yeah, you can have a drink, and why do you have to post about it?
I mean, post the Mexican restaurant if you go to the Mexican
restaurant. Well, yes.
But not under the guise of
true.
Racism. All right. Well, this episode was originally supposed to be probably a month ago at this point. I really wanted to have a candid conversation about particularly my anxiety. But this is a podcast that is shared, so we will talk about both of ours. But what I wanted to bring up...
It's usually Kelvin.
It's usually just me. It really is.
Can I do a note on that? Because I have noticed the pattern of a lot of the times we talk about
sadness
and trauma.
Family trouble.
It tends to be yours. And I want to be clear. I have experienced all these things. I just experienced a lot of this in my early 20s, and I've already dealt with it, unpacked it, gone to therapy. So it's not that I don't experience some of these things or I never have. It's more of like you're just in this era of your life that you're experiencing it. So, and we just happen to have a podcast at the moment.
It's just really long era.
So I don't want people to think that like, wow, Calvin is just taking hits left and right.
I mean, let's do a little role work here. Oscar is really good at compartmentalizing, and I am in the study of that right now. I have gone to therapy since 2021, on and off. I have accomplished a lot of things through that journey and have gotten way better at certain things than others, and I'm really proud about that. But yeah, my life, I feel like your life, and there will be issues and there will be trauma that'll happen, I'm sure, in years to come. I don't hope that for you, but that's life. But a lot of your troubles and issues, you've kind of solved or have learned how to use your emotional intelligence to surpass them, to be better than them. And for me, I'm still kind of in those crossroads and still learning to get better at things.
Yeah, I think the key is compartmentalizing for me. And it's really common in a lot of queer people too, that like we spend so much of our youth hiding who we are that you innately become really good at it because you've built these walls and these protections to not allow the outside world to see you. Some people even more extreme where like you really never saw it coming, you really didn't expect it. And I think because as queer people, we're kind of forced to do that in different facets of our life, because sometimes it's the workplace, sometimes it's our friend group, sometimes it's school, sports, whatever. You learn how to compartmentalize unintentionally. And I think for you, your queerness for most of your life, wasn't really your identity. It wasn't like what you first put forth. Plus you tend to, for lack of a better word, pass as straight for most of your life. For those who don't know you.
You heard it here first, baby girl.
For those who didn't.
I passed.
For those who didn't know you.
According to Oscar.
But maybe it was just that terrible haircut. So we thought, a gay man would never have that terrible haircut.
I just know somebody listening is like Kelvin passing. Oh, I know.
Your friends are laughing.
My sister laughing, like everybody.
But I mean, like at home and all that stuff. So I think that's why I became good at it, is because, I grew up in a really religious household, and I just learned to compartmentalize that part of my life. And that led to now where, like, at work, they don't know if I'm having a bad day. They don't know if I have stuff going on. Like, they don't know, like when my father had that stroke last year, mm-hmm. Nobody at work knew unless I told them. And it was just because I've gotten really good at, like, well, I shouldn't let this affect this. And it's not about pushing it under the rug. It's just about understanding that, like, I can still find joy in parts of my life, even if in other aspects there's a lot of sorrow and stress and things to deal with. And even now, like with my dad's health and stuff, like, there's always a part of me that's worrying about it and concerned about it, but I also can't let myself get lost in the despair of it all. And I have to compartmentalize, and I have to find joy and be excited about our life. And I think you aren't as good as that, because in most of your life, other than your, telling people you're queer, you're pretty much an open book. You're pretty honest about who you are.
I'm an overshare.
Yeah, you're an overshare.
Socially aware overshare.
Yeah, so at home they know your problems at work. At work they know your problems at home.
Because I probably talked about it already.
But yeah. And also your job had a lot to do with being vulnerable and being relatable, so that obviously helps with that. So I don't think it's your fault. I think it's just how you're built, and you're learning how to. It's not even compartmentalize. Just not let one bad situation affect another. That has nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And you're learning that through right now, like understanding unemployment and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so what I originally wanted to talk about was kind of like the triggers of what got me to a really, really anxiety-ridden place after our Florida trips. And there were two situations that kind of triggered that situation. And for those that are listening, I just want you to know it's been weeks. I already had my anxiety attack. I'm definitely working through it. I wouldn't say I'm better, but I will say that I already went through it. And I don't need to cause any, not panic is the right word because that's a little too extreme, but I don't want anybody to be concerned right now. I think me talking about it and being able to just flesh it out and just, I'm working on it day by day. Yeah.
The point of this is not, we don't necessarily need concern. Obviously it's always welcome and appreciated, but we can reassure everyone that, again, what I said last time, the nice thing about this podcast is we get to rehash some conversations and maybe learn something new in the new conversation, but we've already talked about this ad nauseum with each other. Yes. And we've already kind of on the other side of like, what to do next, how do we handle it next?
Right. And there were two situations that triggered this. So one of them is kind of dumb and silly, and I know it is. And the other part, actually, it was physical interactions that triggered this anxiety. Yeah. And the first one, which I know is silly, I know, and there still is some gold to it, but I saw a social media comment from a Drag Race queen that commented on a video mentioning my previous radio station and from Florida, saying that it was, that's a great radio station. And there's a lot of lore to the thing. It's not, there's no point to explain the whole thing, but I saw her mention it in regards to this post, and it just made me feel a type of way.
You never know what's going to set you off. Right?
No.
It's so just like you're saying, the post wasn't about the radio station. It wasn't about you. It wasn't about Miami. It was just them saying like, oh, I love that station. Whether they're trying to make a joke or whatever, just seeing that station pop up and someone loving it.
From the Drag Race
from the Drag Race queens, it caused you to unravel a little bit.
Yes.
For no apparent reason, right? Because it's not like you haven't thought about that in 3-4 years at this point.
I haven't thought about that station. Haven't thought about that. No, I've thought about the Drag Race queen, but it was just like maybe my two worlds colliding that I was like, I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like that. And I didn't like it, and it bothered me a lot, honestly, and I had to talk about it. And then the true thing that really set me off was during my cousin's birthday party. I had an amazing time. I had reconnected with so many people that I hadn't seen forever, and it was so much fun. And everybody is just so kind, and like I had a really, really great time. But there was an ongoing theme of people that have been catching up with me, and I don't blame them for asking this, and I don't want anybody in the future to feel bad for asking me this, but when it happens...
I expect apologies to my husband.
When it happens so often that it starts to make you feel bad about yourself. And it's the question of, so what are you doing now? What's going on? And my radio head immediately goes, I'm going through mental troubles. This has been a really hard time. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Yeah. But I don't do that with people. I just try to be lighthearted with the response because we're at a birthday party.
Well, that's, socially, that's what we're trained to do.
Right.
If someone says, like, are you okay? You just be like, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's great. I love being unemployed. I love being unemployed. I love asking for my husband's credit card. When I want to buy something on Amazon. So, it started to attack me a little bit because it wasn't, 3 or 4 times that people were asking this. A lot of the friends that are my cousins are mine as well.
Yeah.
And naturally, of course, they're concerned about me. And I'm so grateful that I have so many people that care for me that want to know what's going on. But when you get that question constantly, it's like a stab in the heart almost a little bit. Dramatic, but,
Well, it's kind of like, I feel like I would compare it to when you're single and you go to family functions and everyone's like, when are you going to get a girlfriend? When are you going to get a boyfriend? When are you going to be in a relationship? Or if you're in a relationship, when are you getting married? It's that thing where it's like people's natural curiosity to know what's going on in your life comes out the wrong way. And then what ends up happening is that in our minds, we translate that with our worth, right? So we think that, because I'm single, because I don't have a job, because I'm not married yet, or we're not engaged yet, I somehow have lesser value. Whether that person sees it that way or not, usually it's not. They're not trying to make you feel bad.
No, of course not.
They're trying to make you feel like they're interested in your life, which is usually where it comes from. It's a natural curiosity to know what people are doing for work, what they're doing in their relationships, this and that. But, as a society, we have to learn that words have weight, right? And asking those could send someone into a spiral, which unfortunately was what happened with you, is that someone asking that automatically, let alone, 8 to 10 people asking you back to back, and you have to give the same response, like, still looking, still out here, where there's nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing wrong with being unemployed. When we have a stable situation like we do right now, where you can experience, trying to try new things and see where your career can go, because financially we're doing okay. So it makes you just eat at yourself like, man, do these people think that I'm like not useful to society, not useful to my relationship, because I have to keep telling people I'm just still looking.
And I know, I'm aware, this situation could be so much worse.
Oh, yeah.
We could be drowning. We could be in a horrible city. We could have no village. I could have no friends. I want to give a huge shout out to, honestly, strangely enough, my male friends have been incredible checking in with me. Normally, my girlfriends... You hate
women.
No, I don't hate women. Women hate me. So, that's been really, really cool, because a lot of guy friends have really just been there for me,
That is kind of crazy.
It is. And that's no shade to my girlfriends. Of course they have checked on me here and there, but majority have been the guy friends.
Oh man, breaking that cycle.
I know.
Period.
But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just eating at me, and there's different facets of why it bothers me. I have so many hopes and dreams, and I'm kind of in limbo right now. I can separate being social. I've worked hard on that, and I've gone out a little bit more, and I have a new friend, and so I'm grateful about that, right? Like, okay, great, that's out of the way. Being able to, go on our honeymoon, I don't know when that's going to happen. But also giving myself grace of, listen, girl, just get a job and stop worrying about that material stuff. So, it's just a constant battle between a lot of things.
It's mental gymnastics.
It's so much mental gymnastics. It makes me think, did I pick the correct career choice? Because now I'm applying to jobs where I have to mold my skills to a different kind of job that isn't radio. And that's kind of hard, because for radio, all I did was act like myself, and then, of course, try to market the show to promote myself.
Yeah.
A lot of the work was about myself. And that's really hard to...
It's an uncommon thing in the workplace.
Right.
In the work field, right?
I can't go to an interview and be like, I'm a personality hire. Yeah. That there's a joke. There's a joke that like, oh, I'm the personality hire. I'm just like the fun one. But you're an accountant. I'm not that. I am just purely a personality hire.
Well, the thing is you have to give yourself more credit, right? Is that the world today, it's not enough to be a personality. Mm-hmm. You have to, and it's just like being an influencer, right? Like, yes, your personality is what you're selling, but you also have to be a business mogul. You also have to be a social media expert. You also have to know fashion. You have to know interpersonal skills. You have to know technology. Like, it's all these things that like we don't think. And to your point, that's just the work field search now is you have to mold yourself. It's like with retail, right? Mm-hmm. When I applied for this job, I didn't think that I was ready for a job like this. I had to learn that the skills that I got from being in stores, I had to mold them to this. And yeah, this is not as far of a reach. I'm not jumping. I didn't jump ship. I've been in retail this whole time. But it's that thing. I see that more and more every day where like you're encouraged because I've interviewed people where, you wouldn't think normally their skill set would have to do, but like the way they talk and the way they communicate it really is true. Like there are other things that you could do that would work in other fields. Mm-hmm. And the only person that has to believe in it is you.
Right.
Because you stop yourself from being like, oh, well, I don't know how I could take, getting a social media following and turn it into something else. Right. But the truth is when you break it down and you unpack all the skills that you have, it works for plenty of fields. It's just marketing yourself the right way to that interview or to that job to kind of get in the door in that aspect.
I agree. I think though when you're reformatting your skills to apply to that job, to me it feels like lying. And you know me at this point. I don't like lying. I do not like lying. I never want to be caught in a situation where I said something and then it's not necessarily what I meant and I freeze up and then I say the truth. And I've never been that kind of person. I don't like doing that. I will always tell you upfront how I'm feeling or what I can do, and that's it. So you don't expect something from me. I don't expect anything from you, and it's just easier that way. But I am trying to learn how to. I have to. There's no other way.
Not being a good liar is not a weakness, because I want to make that really clear because. That's one of the things I love about you the most is that like I always know I can trust you because you're not good at lying. There's like I know whenever you're lying, like, and it's stupid. It's a stupid white lie or a silly white lie, like, and that's a good thing. Being a really good liar is not exactly something to be proud of. It's something that could be a dangerous game in a workplace, let alone in your personal life, because I'd rather the person that I'm interviewing tell me, hey, I can do this. I'm not as fluid in this, but I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to get the tools and figure it out. Because for me, it's someone's work ethic, someone's talent is far more weighted in the conversation of hiring than them being specific in a skill. And again, we're talking about the typical workplace. I'm not talking about obviously being a doctor, you need the skill of being a doctor, like being a surgeon. Right. I'm talking about just in general, like hiring for a communications expert or for visual merchandising. It's taking the honesty. I just hired someone or was part of the hiring process for someone who it was something similar where they specialize in a very niche part of retail, but they were able to be honest. Where like my skills are great in here. I don't really necessarily know college retail and I don't really know anything about that, but I'm willing to learn as long as I get the freedom to do that. And I think if you're joining a non-toxic workplace, they will accept that your personality is part of the job. It's less and less that people are hiring someone who, yeah, they may be amazing, but their personality isn't great because you have to be able to have interpersonal skills. You have to be able to work with others. Mm-hmm. It's not anymore where you can just stay in your lane and get stuck to what you do and never interact with other people. You have to be able to work with other people, which is what you're amazing at.
Right.
So I think it's just highlighting that stuff. It's not that you have to become a liar. It's, if anything, be more of telling the truth. Mm-hmm. Where you admit your skills and you admit your failings or your opportunities is a better word, right?
My challenges that I will overcome.
That is where, you could find some success, or anyone that's listening. Because I know you're not the only person who is dealing with this right now or experiencing this feeling.
Mm-hmm. I just went through everything you just talked about right now. I had an incredible interview. All my interviews till this point have been virtual.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I still think I'm myself virtually, but I digress. I have not gotten any of those jobs. But this one job interview that I did in person, it went so well. And if there's something that I'm confident about is that I know that I'm a personality hire and I know I can get along with the majority of people. Yeah, I do feel like I'm a charming person.
Yeah.
If you give me something, like we can volley is what it's called. Like I can go back and forth with you and we can kiki and haha and also tell you about my strategy on how to enhance your brand. Like I can do that. And maybe I'm just better at it in person, but that's exactly the situation that happened to me this past week, and the interview ended with me getting a hug, and they hinted at them wanting to give me the job, but let me check my email right now. Let me just check. But
live and in person.
Live and in person. No, still nothing. But but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
That was not a planned bit.
It was not. I really.
Do that.
Can I just be honest? I really want to be like, I got hired. Yeah, they said they'd email me Monday. But aside from that,
if it happens next episode, we'll recreate it.
We'll recreate it. But yeah, they made me seem like they were going to hire me, and still waiting on the email. And who knows? By this time, they might still want to hire me. But anyways, the point is, I had a really incredible interview showing off that I can do what I need to do.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
And I was clocked for having something on my resume that I wasn't necessarily like knowledgeable in, but I was able to finesse and be like, well, I can do certain things to highlight that part. So I'm learning. That was the first time I ever did that successfully, and so I'm ready. I think I'll be more ready the next time if it were to happen again.
I love that. Do you think your anxiety about work has made you feel like your value is less than someone else who maybe, has a career or is in work or whatever? Like, do those questions really make you feel that way? Like, do you still feel that way, or do you think you can let go of the thought of my career is part of who I am?
I think it's situational.
Yeah.
I don't compare myself. Because you don't compare where you can't compete. So, like, for me, I see another radio personality, and, like, they're doing their thing, and I'm so proud of them, and I'm so happy for them. I never think anybody is lesser than me when it comes to, like, the field that I was in.
Yeah.
It's situational to me when I get asked, let's go to this concert. And I want to, like, scream at the rooftops and be like, I'm not going to buy a ticket right now to this thing. And I sound mean saying that.
You know what it is, though? One, you don't have to be mean. You don't have to yell.
I don't.
Because not everyone knows everyone's financial situation, right? First. And then secondly, I think it's, there are people who are very irresponsible with their money. There are people who have jobs and have $0 in the bank account at the end of each week just because of how irresponsible they are with their money. So it's not about that. I think people are inviting you because they want to include you. And, you can say no without an explanation. I'm poor, don't you know?
That's how I feel. That's how I want to respond, and I don't ever respond that way. What is it obviously.
You say? Let me ask my husband.
Let me ask my sugar daddy. And funny enough, 9 times out of 10, you will probably say yes, but I do not.
What?
I do not. But I don't ask you. Like, you can, all the listeners, tell them right now. I really don't ask you for much.
Well, you also know what not to ask me, like, because there's also, if the situation was reversed, I wouldn't. If the situation was reversed, I would be the same way. I wouldn't ask you for frivolous things like money for clothes because I like to go shopping. Like, that's silly.
Yes.
But we always have a roof over our head. Our bills are all paid. Food's in our mouth.
High protein.
High protein.
That's the only thing I ask for. Give me my high protein stuff.
We can still afford high protein, so that means we're doing just fine.
Yes. So yeah, I don't. The value thing, when it comes to my dreams and aspirations, and I know that it's just going to flip the minute that I'm like in a new routine of like, okay, I'm working towards something again. Yeah. It's so strange to be taken out of your career just like that through a layoff. It just feels so weird, and it's like, And radio's just not the same as it was before the pandemic. And we've talked about this ad nauseum, you know, so I'm not going to really go into it again. But it just, I think for anybody, it feels horrible to just be plucked out and just be like, all right, well, what's next?
Well, everyone in Spirit Airlines.
Yeah.
That's what they're experiencing right now. Yeah. 17,000 people have been laid off. And this happens, it's a cycle. This is how the economy works, unfortunately, is that companies close, companies open, whatever, that I'm sure they're all, I've been seeing so many posts on LinkedIn, and it's heartbreaking. People have
the videos, the
people
reels.
People have the same feeling that, like, I have been doing this for over 10 years, and now what, right? It's the now what of it all, that you don't know. You don't know where your life is going to be. You imagined your life. You imagine what the next part of your life is going to look like. Mm-hmm. Your trajectory. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this for a while, and then after that, it's this, and like that's the same way in radio. It's, you know, you're start in afternoons or you start at nights, and then you get to a morning show, and then you get to the number 2 mic or number 1 mic, and then you get your own show. Like, obviously, that doesn't happen for everybody, but that's kind of the natural progression of quote unquote success. Mm-hmm. But there's so many behind the scenes success that has nothing to do with being in front of a mic that also works.
Right.
So it's one of those things that, like, I wish as a society that people could understand that your career is not like, it does not define you. Mm-hmm. Because it's great if you have a career. It's great if you're successful. It's great if your career involves helping people or whatever, making a lot of money. Like, all that stuff is great. But at the end of the day, I care, how do you treat your family? How do you treat your neighbors? How do you treat your community? How do you feel about human rights? Like, that's what I care about. I don't care what your job title is. It's rare that I ask someone what they do for work, unless it's, because that's why I hate small talk, right? I say that I don't care, and it sounds harsh when I'm like, I don't ask people things because I don't care. It's because the things I do care about are not necessarily socially acceptable to ask from the beginning, right off the back. Like, you know, what's your trauma? Like, right. What brings you joy? What makes you smile? What makes you laugh? Like, and maybe I should try that more often, but I don't ask about people's careers because I don't think that's who they are. Mm-hmm. You know, them being a teacher, them being a doctor, them being a fucking astronaut, that's all great and dandy, and I appreciate people like that because obviously we need those careers, but I don't think it defines who you are.
Right.
My best friend, who's a teacher, she's an amazing teacher, and those kids, it's Teacher Appreciation Week, by the way, when this comes out. Send your teacher some money, send a teacher you love some money, buy them a coffee, buy them something, tell them you love them. She's an amazing teacher, but when I think of her, it's not teacher first. That's one of the last things I think of. Right. I think of what an amazing friend she is, what an amazing daughter she is, what an amazing sister.
Big booty.
That too.
Absolutely.
How funny she is, how intelligent, how beautiful, and I'm gassing her the hell up. So,
big booty.
So go on my Instagram if you want to find her. She's not technically single, but
she's not.
But no, but she's amazing nonetheless. And it's that stuff where, like, I never want someone to feel like all I care about is their career, which is because I don't want someone to feel what you're feeling. Right. It's that perfect example. Because some people are in a career they hate, and they hate talking about it. They hate people asking about it, or they are embarrassed about it. And to be clear, you should never be embarrassed about having a job. There is dignity in all work, regardless of the work you do. There's dignity in work. So we need to get rid of these stigmas that people feel around work and career and stuff, which is why I rarely ever talk about it. And I don't talk about my career either unless someone blatantly asks me what I do, and even then I try to keep it short and sweet. Because I don't want to talk about my job, because that's not who I am. I want to talk about that I love Disney. I want to talk about what makes me laugh. I want to talk about, I like to shake my ass on the dance floor sometimes. And that's it. Because that's who I am. That's who I am. I want to talk about my nieces and nephews.
That's the majority of where your joy comes from.
Yeah. I want to talk about Jimbo. Ask me about my dog.
Right.
I'd rather talk about my dog for an hour than my job for 10 minutes.
Right.
Because it shouldn't cause people anxiety.
Yeah.
You are so much more. I am so proud of the person you've become. I'm so proud of... Why am I going to cry? I'm so proud of... It's just so hard for me to see you beat yourself up about stuff like this. Because... that's not why I fell in love with you. I didn't fall in love with you because you were in radio. Is it a cool job that has given us some cool experiences? Of course. But it's not why I fell in love with you. I fell in love with you because of how you look at me. Because of how you treat my family. Because of how you treat your friends. That's why I fell in love with you. Because of how you treat people. Like, you just want everyone to be happy and safe and loved, and that's who you are. And your careers come and go, money comes and goes. And that's what we should talk about first.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want everyone to do that. Stop asking people about their jobs, about their careers, about stuff, because yeah, even if you love it, it's not who you are. It does not define you. Because if your career is the only thing that you associate with yourself, there's a lot more problems and a lot of things you gotta unpack. Mm-hmm. Because it's like when people are in like finance or things like that, and that's all they talk about.
Right.
Like, hey, okay, you're making money, but like you seem pretty fucking lonely, dude.
Materialistic, yeah, a little bit like, sometimes.
And like that's how people end up with these lonely, anxiety, drug problems, drinking problems, because they're not addressing the real thing. They're so focused on their career being their personality that there's no substance underneath that.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you for saying that. That's very sweet, and I love you. And I appreciate you. And honestly, this era of my life would not be as easy as it would be if it wasn't for you.
Period.
Like write that down. Period. But ironically, as I've said, please let's not focus on me. We have been talking about me for about 30 minutes.
Right.
So why don't we switch on over? Because I know that you are feeling yourself, like you're feeling yourself on a high right now when it comes to your mental health, which is, once again, I know that you've talked about this on the podcast before where you're like, I feel bad because I've had so many blessings and my career is going up, but I don't feel any resentment. I don't feel any envy or jealousy because your lane is your lane and I'm so happy for you. And if you're good, great. Like somebody is taking 80 while I have been in the 20 for a while.
Yeah.
If anything, it's...
I'm going to pause you for a second.
Yeah.
Because I just got a cramp because we did legs today in the gym. Hold on.
Oh, that's not... Let's take a quick pause. I was being so good.
So sorry. Okay, it's gone.
We're keeping in the episode.
I got a quick Charlie horse.
Anyway, so you pushed through it. This is how radio podcasts
I did good at the gym today. Kelvin can attest.
You did. You did do good.
Yeah, so I brought it up earlier. I was talking to Kelvin how like I had just gotten off the phone with my mom about just like planning the week and some things we're going to do. We're going to host brunch for Mother's Day and things like that. And then I got off a work call earlier today where I felt really accomplished and really good. And I was telling Kelvin that like, the past couple weeks I felt like I haven't, and that's what I'm talking about compartmentalized. Nobody could tell because I wasn't talking about it on the podcast. I haven't really been talking about it with my friends.
Right.
I've kind of felt like I've been dropping the ball in like a lot of aspects for the past month. Like I felt like I kept just missing the target with work for certain projects, or I was like a little backtracked or delayed. I felt like I wasn't spending enough time with my family. I wasn't spending enough time with my friends or reaching out or plans and stuff. And now this week I've really been adamant on like planning out my job, planning out work and travel, planning out outings with friends and trips and things like that. Planning out stuff for my family to make sure that everyone's getting time for me, but also making sure that I'm still protecting my peace and like filling my cup of like relaxation and things like that. And it was like you're stretched in so many directions, and it's typical where like if you do everything half-ass, you're not doing anything at all. Really, right? And that's what I was feeling that. And it wasn't like anyone was telling me that. Nobody was saying I was being a bad friend or son or sibling, or
it was all in your mind.
It was all in my head, right? We're our worst critic. And that's one of the things where like even though my mental health journey is far better than it was when I was younger, I still have these bouts sometimes where I want to be a good whatever to someone, a good husband, friend, whatever, that the moment I feel like I'm not, I beat myself up about it. Mm-hmm. Because I it's not about being perfect, but I want to make sure people feel like I'm investing time in them, because I don't want them to add me to their list of people that isn't giving them enough attention, isn't caring about them enough. And I know I'm only one person, right? I can only do so much. I only have so much bandwidth, so I have to give myself grace. But it was kind of a month of that struggle, that anxiety, if we're, that's what we're talking about. The anxiety of like, oh, I hope my mom doesn't think like I don't care because I haven't called her in a couple of days because I've just been so busy and I forgot. Or I hope my sister doesn't think that because I haven't called my nieces that I don't care at the moment. I'm just a little stressed with work, or you don't think that I don't care. Like it's all in my head. And I know that people don't feel like that, but I never want that to be a reason. And I never want the excuse for someone to think like that about me.
Do you think that the pressures of being like the breadwinner of the house might have had to do a little bit with that? Because you are juggling holding down the house.
That could be it.
And your family's now 45 minutes away, so there is a new expectation of that. You have your other friend that's 45 minutes the other way, so it's like you have a lot more than I think you did in Charlotte.
Yes. In a good way. And I think that's what it was. I wanted all these things, right? I wanted to be close to my family, my best friend. I wanted a job that paid me well, and I have one, thankfully. And having all that, sometimes it feels like the weight of the world, and that's coming from nobody but me.
Yeah.
And that's also what I want to be clear. This isn't a comment coming from my family, my friends, or you, or any vibes. This is just me saying like, okay, you got everything you want. Why are you dropping the ball?
Mm-hmm.
And I was being hard on myself.
Yeah.
But I realized the moment I gave myself some grace, and the moment I said like, hey, you're doing what you can, your best friend is planning. So if you plan the time to invest in your family, like, we're going on Wednesday to help my aunt out, and she needs some stuff done around the house, so we're gonna install a light or hang a TV or whatever, making sure we're hosting Mother's Day so that my sister and my aunt, my mom feel loved and cared for, making sure we went to a recital to see my best friend's daughter, and hang out with the little baby. And it's all that stuff, right? It's just about planning. I need to, do it one step at a time and not think that I have to be perfect, right? Because
everything,
perfect
everywhere.
Yeah, everything ever all at once.
Yes.
And it's not about that. It's not about being perfect, the perfect son, the perfect husband. It's about doing my best and leaning in on the joy.
Yeah.
Leaning in on the joy, leaning in on the fact that like telling people I'm proud of them, I love them. We were on a call yesterday with our other really good friend Shay, and we were talking about his potential career opportunities and potential moves because he's moving with his partner across country because his partner matched for medical school. And it's one of those things that I had told him that I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud seeing like, the journey you've had in the past couple years of your career, and, things that were, either in his control, out of control, whatever, that it finally feels like it's lining up. And, I get a little woo-woo, and whether it's God or the universe or whatever, because I've said that before, that I feel like our life is like that, right? Everything happens for a reason.
And when it's supposed to.
And then it usually comes to fruition at some point, and we're like, oh, this is why we went through this. This is why we had to move. This is why I had to do this. And that's what it was for him, is I realized that there's so much more importance in just communicating my love for my people. It's not about necessarily having 5-hour phone calls, physically visiting them, physically being around them. Sometimes it's also just calling them and saying, hey, I'm proud of you. Hey, I love you. Hey, sorry I haven't been around as often, but I promise that'll change in like 2 weeks because it's just whatever my timeline with work.
Right.
It's that. It's just reminding them, being there, letting them know you love. Let the people in your life know you love them, and they'll feel that. I mean, yes, you have to show up and you have to prove that you love people, but words also, like we said earlier, words have weight for good and for bad.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a perfect example of it, because communicating that to someone, I can see how much they appreciate it, and see how much they see, wow, this is someone who loves me and cares and sees me, warts and all. And it's one of those things that I've seen people, go through hell and back with their lives, and the anxiety of them thinking I'm just another not great person in their life had led me to that kind of way of thinking for the last month. And I realized that's not it. I'm not that person. I'm not a terrible friend. I'm not a terrible husband. I'm not a terrible whatever. Life got busy. I, dropped the ball a little bit, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And I picked it up again.
Period.
And I made sure everyone knew what they needed to know. And yeah, that's it. That's also the other side of that. For anyone that can relate to that, it's give yourself grace when it comes to showing up for the people in your life. You're doing your best constantly. Life is really, really fucking hard. And our life isn't even that hard.
Right.
It's all in perspective.
It's true.
That life for other people around the world, and even, I'm sure around the block, are so much harder.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that your pain isn't worth anything, or your pain isn't valid, but once you put it into perspective, it may help you alleviate that pain a little and realize like, yeah, I got to deal with this, and this sucks, but I have this. I have this person that I love. I have this life that I love. So let's put it into perspective, right?
Take a step back and then control what you can control.
Yeah.
That's, right? I think, the
the
biggest lesson of it all.
You know, people may not be religious, but there's that proverb of, God grant me the... Oh, man, I'm going to mess it up. It's
God
like...
grant me the...
It's like, God grant me the grace to change what I can, the acceptance to change what I can't, or to not change what I can't, and then the knowledge to know the difference, or the understanding of it. Okay. I completely butchered that.
All of it.
But it's essentially that, where it's like, you can change what you can change. You have control over what you have control. Mm-hmm. And then it's understanding the difference between what you have control over and what you don't. Period. And once you understand that, it's like the world opens up.
I love that. I am going to try to take a page out of that book. I am not on the decline, but I am... I'm like a little up, a little down, a lot of up, a lot of down. Well, I'm finding myself irritated.
You already hit the big drop in the roller coaster, right? You hit the
I don't know. I think
No.
There's potential for less.
You hit the big drop in, let's say this last year. Like, you've already hit the big incline to the drop, and now you have the whoops, the swirls, the twists and turns.
Right.
You're still riding the ride.
I want to get off. I want to get off.
Where's the emergency button?
Right. But the beauty about this podcast is that I'll be able to look back and be like, wow, I was really suffering during that time, and putting on a smile and putting on a show. So, with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to not only our YouTube channel, our TikTok, our Instagram. Please, please, please rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, because it helps a depressed podcast host.
And remember to follow us on Instagram at Los Yappers Podcast. You can follow me at Oscar_CORD.
And you can follow me at Kelvin Live. Honey, I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you.
I do love doing life with you, and I love being able to get chapters and pages out of your books. And honestly, you have made me a better, more positive person. So I am grateful for that, and you truly make me feel like I am enough. You like that?
And you made me a more cynical person. Which granted, it balances out, because sometimes you need a little bit of pessimistic.
Absolutely.
Pessimistic. Dang, first time I've ever messed up a word.
Thank God.
Oh, write that down, Yap Nation. But I love you too, and Yap Nation, whether you're dealing with anxiety, career problems, family problems, please remember, perspective is everything. Words carry weight, and you are enough.
Mwah.